So at this time, everybody's seeking for one thing, is some words of encouragement. Everybody wants to hear something, So everybody's calling me, or probably many others, what's going to be? Hashem has taken the redemption to the next level, and now we're all confused. What's going to happen? When? How? What? The fear is what's taking over most people. And I'm definitely not worried. And why? Because I practice what I'm going to teach you today, and every few days we'll make one class about Bitachon. And that's what is required right now. Bitachon means trust, not faith. I believe in God. I know many people who believe in God. But when push comes to shove, the trust is not there. Unfortunately, we are not in an easy time, very difficult time for many people. The uncertainty and the chaotic energy, the everything around, plus the fear, plus so many things, one can easily find themselves in a lot of stress, depression, anxiety, fear, confusion. The big question is, what's going to be? People turn to me like as if I'm some ATM to answers. What's going to be? The Bibi didn't consult with me lately, so I don't know what's going to be. I don't know what's going to be. I know more or less where we're heading, but I don't know what's going to be, so please don't stop asking me that. It's going to be okay for the ones who believe it's going to be okay. Okay? But that's not enough just to believe it's going to be okay. No question, and there's no other way of saying it. We're marching into a Holocaust. There's no other way of saying it. Don't be afraid, because that's what Hashem wants. And I know it sounds a little bit harsh for the ears to hear, but in Hebrew we say, Lekol kadur yesh ktovet. Every bullet has an address. Nothing happens by mistake. So there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a clear path that we are going towards the Geulah. I mean, whoever's already has their heads screwed well on their shoulders can see we're going towards the redemption. Don't whine. We've been asking for this redemption for years. Now, I don't know what happened 70 years ago, 500 years ago, or 1,200 years ago, but I can tell you that for the last 49 years that I'm alive, everybody's constantly saying, when Mashiach is going to come? We want Mashiach. Why isn't he coming? I'm talking about the ones who believe in the coming of Mashiach. So finally it's coming. So why are you crying? What do you think? The wrapper for the present is going to be nice? I told you that many years ago, God doesn't wrap presents nice. That's the sheker, that they wrap everything nice. Then you open and you get an empty box. God is the other way around. When he gives you a present, it doesn't come wrapped nice. And in many of the cases, it comes wrapped disgusting, that you don't want to open the present. But that's the presence of Hashem. So we've been asking for the redemption for so many years. So it's coming. Can you show me any source in any book that says that the Geulah is going to come smoothly? I will show you all the sources in all the books that the redemption is not coming smoothly. We have the hope and the desire and the belief in Hashem that if He wants, the Geulah can come smoothly. Okay? But that depends on us. So it doesn't depend on anybody else. I told you many, many times in the last decade that while we are in the 70s, Taf Shin Ayin, then there's a very good, auspicious time to act as the human race and hasten the redemption. But once we entered the 80s, Taf Shin Ayin, David HaMelech says, Yemei Shnatecha 70 shana, V'im b'gvurot 80 shana. Gvurot is judgments. It's severity. We are entering now, we are already in the 80s. Tafshin Ayin, we're in Tafshin Pei. So we went from the 70s to the 80s. I told you already that the entire 80s, and not the 80s and 1980s, I'm talking about Tafshin Pei, We're going to have a decade of gvurot. Ve'im b'gvurot, 80 shana. 80 pei gvurot. I said that already. Now don't take it as something negative. Gvurot is something good. It just comes. It seems bad. Our entire mission as a Jewish nation, spiritually, I would even choose to say Kabbalistically, is to sweeten Gvurot. Most of what we do is called Hamtakat Dinim. Sweeten the judgments. Judgments will come. But it can come nice, and it can come rough, and it can come not nice. So of course we have the opportunity to do whatever we can as a nation and as a human race to sweeten everything, to hasten it, that it will be 1 year instead of 4 years, that it will be X amount of casualties and not so much casualties. What's going to happen, we can't change. We're already marching into the redemption. Be happy. Be satisfied. We might see the coming of Mashiach very soon with our own eyes. Can you imagine what that means? So be happy. And if there is a volunteer in the crowd that can tell me or show me a source that says that the redemption will come like a nice walk in a park. I never saw any source or a verse or any hint that the redemption will just come with beautiful weather and background music and I don't know what. There is the chance. I personally believe that we lost that chance. 8 years ago, I gave a very long lecture that hit thousands, millions of views, and as a result, changed a lot of things in the surface of the world. But nevertheless, I said then, this is a famous lecture that I gave 8 years ago, it's called Mashiach is Coming, Are You Ready? Where I gave a lot of sources about everything that corners all the information that we need to know about the coming of Mashiach, and that's it. And there I gave the option that Mashiach can come in two options. Be'ita, in its time, or ve'achishena. And I will make it come faster. At the time, then, I said that my feeling, according to my calculations, reading and gathering knowledge, that we passed the ve'achishena. We passed it already. That was in Samich Bet, in Ein Bet. There was so many, the date that everybody thought would be the right date for the coming of Mashiach was Tafshin Ein Daled. And there was all the calculations, if you remember. So first of all, I believe that we passed the Achishena. Achishena means I'll make it come faster. Which means it's coming Be'ita at the right time. So let Hashem do his thing. Step back and let Hashem run the world. He's doing it. So first of all, be very, very, very happy because we are marching into the redemption. I choose negative words and harsh words, and many wonder why, is because when somebody's asleep in a burning room, you don't ask them nice to get up. You don't tap them on the back. Excuse me. You scream like a maniac that the room is burning. That's it. My experience on myself and on many others is that people only get it with a strong hand. I fail to find people who get it in a nice way. There's a few people. Every now and then you'll find some individual that doesn't need much explanations. See the situations and that's it. Most people need to be hit on the head many times till they get it. So I volunteer to hit you on the head. That's it. You don't like to be hit on the head? Go listen to somebody else that's telling you that everything is fine, that don't worry, everything will be okay. Just need to be besimcha and have a lot of love. And we'll see what's going to happen. I'm not forcing you to listening to me. You can go listen to anyone who can tell you whatever you want to hear. That's it. You want to hear that everything's okay? Go listen to people who tell you everything's okay. I choose to tell you everything is great, but please notice the bumps on the way and understand where the bumps are coming from. I'm talking about bumps like the speed bumps. That's not a smooth ride. We're going on the speed bumps all the time. That's what I'm calling bumps. So no way other than the truth to say, listen, the situation is not too good. Situation, if you think the situation is good, get your brain checked. 20 plus days passed from the breaking of the war, and nothing changed besides destruction in Gaza. They didn't get us anywhere, by the way. That destruction, what they did in the last 24 days, could have been done in 2 days and finished. Could have been done in 1 day if you want, but then it would be boom in 1 day. So maybe psychologically they want to smear it on 3.5 weeks. But the result is the same, could have been achieved in 2 days. And what did we achieve from that besides destruction to Gaza? Do you have the hostages back? No. Is the rocket stop? No. What did you achieve? You want to tell me for 24 days you cannot stop the rockets from flying into Israel? And the whole world is screaming, no water in Gaza. There's plenty of water. No electricity, no this. No. They don't have anything but an abundance of missiles. That they have a lot. So we didn't achieve much with the military maneuver. Or maybe it's beyond my military understanding that it takes to a mighty army 24 days to shut down a terror organization that could be done in 3 hours. Okay? Maybe it's beyond my military understanding. But the point is that the situation is clearly not okay. We are being provoked daily from the north by Hezbollah. Oy vavoy if we start with them up front. We are provoked from all directions. Last night there was missiles shot to Eilat that were intercepted. And you know where they came from? Yemen. From Yemen. From the Houthim. Now we're going to start getting missiles from them. Now what's going to happen when they're all going to start sending missiles on us? So I'm going to stop here because the class is about Bitachon and Emunah and not about shaking your pants. But I just want you to understand where we're going. Open your eyes and realize we are going into a very stormy period. This is not over in a week or two. It might take half a year, might take a year, might not stop. It might stay like this and will increase. I do not know where the winds are blowing. I told you already. Coming down, it's not going to come down. Get that out of your brain and don't listen to anyone, especially not the news, that's going to tell you it's a matter of weeks and it's all coming down. It's not coming down. This maneuver triggered the violence in the world in a way that it's not going to come down. And it will just going to be increasing. And the class after this, we're going to learn from the Zohar about what I'm talking about. So it's not going to come down. It's not going to become better. You already see an unbelievable amount of violent attacks all over the world. Violent, but like not violent like a slap to the face. I'm talking about 2,000 people raiding an airport to kill a potential, maybe, Israeli that by mistake landed in Dagestan. Yeah, that's what you need now. And this happened in Paris. I don't know if you saw. Many attacks on Jews in Paris. Violently. Everywhere. America. That's what I was talking about. 10 years. And thank you for listening to me then. But I told you that it's going to be all over the world. And Israel is the safest place, by the way. This I'm keeping for a different lecture. I prepared for you a very interesting lecture with all the sources that you need to know why Eretz Israel is and will be always the safest place in the world, and don't even think of going back to your birthplace or to anywhere to hide. People are running to places to hide. I got a phone call from somebody who ran to Cyprus. I told you, are you out of your mind? Half of Cyprus is under control of Turkey. You're running to Cyprus? Not to talk about the slap to the face to Hashem. Don't leave Eretz Israel. And if you're out of Eretz Israel, then make it your business to come here. Because Israel is and will be the only safest place in the world. And don't get me wrong, it will be crazy here too. But safer than anybody else. So after we saw the atrocities with our own eyes, and we all got a slap to our existence that we saw horrible footage. Everybody saw footage, some more, some less. And everybody got hit with the harsh reality that what happened 80 years ago in the Holocaust, and we all were convinced, never again. We just realized that, oh no, the never again, delete. And now we need a new slogan instead of never again. And each and every one of us was brought to our reality that Hashem can be vicious to us. I don't know why it's such a surprise to you, because we had a Holocaust 80 years ago. Go back 100, 120 years ago to Soviet Union, another Holocaust. Go back to the Spanish Inquisition, another Holocaust. And you need to tell you how many Holocausts we went through. Do you think in the Holocaust it was any different than what we saw 3 weeks ago? It was worse, and what was murdered then, 3 weeks ago in one day, was done every day in the Holocaust. Why are you so shocked when you're hearing about a pregnant woman getting her stomach cut and the embryo, the baby taken out? Go read what Mengele did. So no question here that these Hamasnikim are Zera Amalek and they're psychotic. It's not human beings. But we all met a reality. Wait a minute, Hashem is not nice suddenly, seemingly. So at this time, everybody's seeking for one thing, is some words of encouragement. Everybody wants to hear something, so everybody's calling me, or probably many others, what's going to be? Okay, Tuesday is going to be 27 degrees. Wednesday looks like a nice forecast. That's the most I can tell you about the future based on the forecast that they're engineering. Look at the sun. It's November. Tomorrow is November. I'm sweating. The air conditioning is on. And no climate engineering here. Well, at least it's much easier for the soldiers to fight in this weather and not to fight in pouring rain and in mud. But Hashem has taken the redemption to the next level, and now we're all confused. What's going to happen? When? How? What? The fear is what's taking over most people. And then the uncertainty. So what is required from us in times like now? And don't think for a second that I stopped or will stop banging you on the head with whatever I can find out from my arsenal without you taking it too bad. But there's a lot of lectures that I have prepared for the next few weeks that some are more inspiring and relaxing, and some is a slap to your face. That slap to the face is the snooze button. You didn't get up the first time, so that's the snooze. So every few days I'll have to snooze the message and give you another slap to wake up. And it's all done with love. I'm not angry. I don't know what people are writing, some of the nonsense that people are writing on comments, and I'm not angry. I just see what's coming and I'm trying to convey the information. And I'm definitely not worried. And why? Because I practice what I'm going to teach you today, and every few days we'll make one class about Bitachon. Because most people don't have it and don't know how to acquire it. And that's what is required right now. Bitachon means trust, not faith. I believe in God. I know many people who believe in God. But when push comes to shove, the trust is not there. So what is it? What is bitachon? What is this trust that I'm looking to acquire? Is the reality that tomorrow will be good. Tomorrow will be fine. Why? Why tomorrow will be fine? So I'll tell you why tomorrow will be fine. Before that, I'll tell you a quick story about the Baal Shem Tov, that one night he could not fall asleep. And after tossing and turning for hours, he woke up and he wakes up his wife and he tells her, "Is there money in the house somewhere?" She says, "Why?" She says, "Because I can't fall asleep." Sure enough, she had some money put aside, and he told her, "Take that money now and give it to a poor person." When he explained it to his wife, he told her, I cannot fall asleep when there's money in the house because it shows lack of trust to Hashem that I'm trying to keep money. I don't keep any money in the house. Tomorrow, Hashem will provide me with exactly what I need. That's bitachon. That tomorrow, everything that I need will be provided. My sustenance, my food, my health, everything will be okay. Now, where do you practice this type of bitachon, of trust? Most people in the world work for somebody, right? Most people are employees. They come to work every day, 8 o'clock, and they do their work. Because they trust that in a month, they get a check. If not, they wouldn't come to work. You wouldn't come to work if the boss would tell you, I'm not too sure if this month I'll pay you. Excuse me? No, I don't know if I'm going to pay you this month, but please, still, come. No one will come. Why do you go to work? Because you trust your boss to pay you. And I'm not talking about the times when the boss doesn't pay. That's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say here is that you go to work because you trust that you're going to be paid. That's bitachon. So let me tell you the approach of Rabbi Ashlag, the Bala Sulam, that says if a person has the sense of trust, bitachon, it's because he's getting a shine, a he'ara of a godly light from the future to the present. When I have a sense of bitachon, that I have no worries about what's going to happen, it's because I'm able to bring a godly light. It's a shine, a he'ara from the future. That never happened yet, but it's in the future. And I'm bringing it into to the present. The essence of bitachon, that's what the Baal Sulam says, is lekabel or me'atid, is to bring the light from the future. Now there's a verse in Tehillim that says, Aboteach be'Hashem chesed yisoveveu. This is in Tehillim Lamed Bet 32, verse 10, free translation, many are the pains of the wicked. The wicked do a lot of bad things. Many types of pains are coming from the wicked. But as for him who trusts in the Lord, kindness will encompass him. So we see that the wicked has many ways. Of many are the pains of the wicked. We see that. But the ones who trust, the one that will put his trust in Hashem, then kindness will encompass him. I don't like the word encompass him, because in Hebrew, yesoveveu, it will surround you, which means that midat chesed surrounds you. So I have an iron dome that is called midat chesed. And why? Because I trust in Hashem. Now what's going to happen when I trust Hashem fully? Then I get the chesed now, what was supposed to be given in the future. Do you understand? I know you do. Now, going back to the example that I gave you, that a person trusts that he's going to get his money from his job, that's he'ara me'atid. That's getting a shine from the future. Because it's like as if, let me tell you my words, he jumped into the future, saw the check being cleared in his bank account, and he jumped back in his past, and he's like, I'm good to go because the check is coming in. It's almost like me coming to any one of you or my friend and telling them, listen, I need now 1,000 shekels, quick. I'm getting my paycheck in 2 days. Or I'm getting my bank transfer or whatever. Can you give me money for 2 days? 1,000 shekels? 1,000 shekels is a lot of money. It's not 100,000, but it's still a lot of money. Now, why would you give me that 1,000 shekels? Because you know that the how do you call it? I forgot the word. What?
Recurring?
Not the recurring. The the track, not the cycle, I don't even have the word bivrit. When you do something, let's say you pay a loan every month for 20 years, there's a record that shows he never missed a payment, right? If you miss payments, it shows on your record. He missed payments, he's late on payments. If you're a good, a responsible individual, then it shows on your record he never was late for a payment. He was never missed a payment. Now, why would you give me this quick loan? Because my record shows that I pay back. You know me for 20 years. You know that I have the money. It's just a due day that you need the money. And why would you trust me? Again, הערה מהעתיד. It's like you jump into the future, you know that the loan is going to be paid, and you come back to the present and you're saying, I'm fully, I trust you that you're going to pay. Bitachon, I'm going to say it and explain it, is whoever has the right vessels in the present to pull light from the future. I know it's a little bit heavy and deep, but I'll tell you again. A person who has bitachon has the kelim, the right vessels, spiritual of course, to hold light from the future. If you don't build these vessels, then you won't be able to host the light from the future, then you won't have bitachon. And you'll have anxiety, you'll have fear, uncertainty, you won't sleep, you won't eat, etc., etc. So the Chovat HaLevavot says something very interesting. Chovat HaLevavot is the duty of the hearts. What is the mark? How can you notice or pay attention that you have the right amount of bitachon? Because you can say, I have a lot of bitachon, but yet I'm scared. If you're scared, you don't have bitachon. If anyone here, is scared, even 1 ounce, you have zero. You don't have enough bitachon. I don't want to say you have zero bitachon, but you don't have the right amount of bitachon. Do you fall asleep very fast? Yes, good. You don't, then you have too much going on in your mind. You don't have bitachon. What is the siman? And how would you track that you have real bitachon? Chovat HaLevavot says, Shalvat nefesh haboteach. Shalvat nefesh is peace of mind. That your nefesh is constantly calm for the one who has the bitachon. Okay. How do you acquire this? Because to be honest, I feel, and it's not about showing off or being arrogant, I feel that my midat bitachon is very strong. I don't worry about anything. Nothing scares me at all. No situation. The thing is that I've been already in all the situations. So, maybe a few I haven't. But I've been to enough situations and I'm not afraid of anything. And not because I'm brave, because I trust Hashem. Being brave is one thing. Having experience with many situations, that's another thing. By trusting Hashem overpowers them. So I can tell you, my midat bitachon is very, very strong. I'm not worried about nothing. I'm not afraid of anything. Nothing shocks me. Nothing phases me. I'm ready for everything and anything. And I know the Kadosh Baruch Hu has the hand on the trigger. Nothing in this world, nothing, no entity in the world can bypass God. So everything that comes to this world is God's will. And I'm happy and I love it. And I accept whatever Hashem does. Why is that? Because if you have the right kelim, if you have the right vessels, you'll be able to hold light from the future that gives you shalvat nefesh, peace of mind. Nothing worries you. Not your financial situation, not your health, not where your kids and what they're doing. Nothing. Nothing bothers you. Calm person. There's a verse in Yeshayahu Isaiah 26, verse Daled, verse 4, that says, Bitchu be'Hashem adei ad. Trust the Lord forever. He is the rock of eternity. What does it mean that I have to trust eternity adei ad? The translation never sounds good. Translation, trust the Lord forever. That's pretty lame for the ones who really understand Hebrew and English. Because the word is adei ad. In English, the word eternity, or forever, it's not adei ad. What is adei ad? Avar, hove, atid. That's adei ad. Past, present, future. Not what it says, forever. Okay? The explanation of the words adei ad is avar, hove, atid. Past, present, future. Which means you have to trust Hashem in the past, in the present, and in the future. On the surface seems simple to understand. It's not. Bitchu be'Hashem adei ad. First, trust Hashem with everything in the past. There's no mistakes done. There's no something went wrong. And the present and the future. Now, let's analyze it a little bit more. If I know how to pull godly light here, now, into my vessels now in the present, then I will reach to a level of bitachon and I'm not going to worry about anything. Now, it's not going to change the situation. It's not going to minimize the rockets or remove the scare. The threat is still there. And also if I walk in the valley of shadow of death, I won't have any fear. Why? Because you're with me. So first, lock it in your mind that the reality that we live in, not only that it's not going to go back, it's going to become worse. Remember I said that 4 years ago with Corona? I said it will never, ever, ever go back to how it was. As everybody was saying, we want to go to pre-Corona. I don't want to go pre-Corona. Stinky time. I don't want to go to pre-Corona. What was good when pre-Corona? Nothing was good. There was sinat chinam. There was lashon hara. There was jealousy. There was all the exact same things. So the exact thing is happening now. Don't think that we're going back to any type of way to how it was 3 weeks ago. Which is good. Hashem is slowly removing the klipot and preparing us for the redemption. So first of all, lock it in your mind that we're not going back to how it was before. The situation will stay as is and will increase to become worse. That's it. That's it. It's not about thinking bad, creating a bad reality. And maybe I should quote all the ignorant comments that people send me. Why are you bringing negativity to the world? I'm bringing the negativity to the world. I'm the one who's bringing the negativity to the world. How about you talk to the millions who don't know how to shut their mouth and slander all day long? That brings negativity to the world, not me. I don't bring negativity to the world. I mind my own business. I just point out what you are failing to see. So don't blame me of bringing negativity to the world. The people who lie bring negativity to the world. They bring people who talk lashon hara, slander, and gossip bring negativity to the world. And the people who cheat on their wives, cheat in business, and many other things. So the comments that people are writing to me, you know that if you think good, it will be good. I missed that in the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that page when I was reading the books of the Baal Shem Tov. Another one of the famous quotes that needs to be understood. You think that if you're just going to sit and think good, then it's going to be good? Yeah, think of $1 million right now. Because if you think good, it's going to be good. And listen, these are slogans that ignorance know how to wave, and they don't even know what it means. What the slogan means, Tachshav tov yeh tov. But I'm not going to address it even now. Continue thinking good. But that's not what changes the reality. If I think negative, it's not that I'm thinking negative. I'm thinking of negative situation. That's it. It's not that I'm building in my mind, oh my God, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do this. No, that's thinking bad. Thinking and focusing on what I see in front of my face, that's not thinking negative. I'm processing the negative. So, throwing the truth to the face is not thinking negative or bringing negativity to the world or. You got to be mature here. Come on. We can't, how do you say, lilatef to, how? Pet? Well, pet it's for a dog. It's smooth. No. When you go like this to a kid, don't worry. Okay, I guess it's pet. I thought it's for only animals when you pet them. What? No, not sugarcoat. Sometimes my kid is upset. I go like this on their head. I calm them down. I pet them, whatever. In Hebrew it's called lelatef. Caress, whatever. You got the point. Shmooze, shmear. Listen, we had so many words here now. We beat Google Translate already. You got the point. Now is not the time to tell you you're a good boy, everything will be okay. Okay? Now it's more to give a slap in the tuchus and says, wake up. Wake up. So first of all, like I told you, change in your mind that this is our reality and it's not going to change for the best. In the meantime, it will increase. I think the right word, it will say decrease, right? Will get worse. But it's going to increase in the magnitude. Excuse me? It will intensify, for sure. It will deteriorate. All the words that you want. Eventually it will kind of balance out, because if you remember the corona, for half a year was craziness and then it kind of calmed down. So this is what we're going to have now. It's going to be craziness for a few months and then it will kind of calm down, but without even noticing, the new reality is opposed on us. What will be the new reality? That you're limited in countries that you can fly because it's dangerous. We're constantly going to be under a terror threat. So every 2 days or 3 days or a week or two, a missile will fly just to remind us that they're there. And a few other things. We're going to have a military state. You're going to see an army everywhere. And we're going to accept it because we want it. Because we don't want another infiltration. Right? That's what I told you 3 years ago. They're going to create some situation that we are going to ask to be guarded by army. Now the government is going to tell you, our army is busy in the borders. Thank you, Biden, for sending 15,000 American troops that are going to walk around the ground of Israel, protecting us, of course. So you're going to wake up to a whole new reality, checkpoints, and many other things. And it's going to be fine with us. Exactly how it's fine with us now, many other things that they opposed on us. So it will kind of calm down, but we're in another state of reality that is more dangerous, more concerning, more limiting, more against Hashem, more judgmental. Let's just deal with it. Deal with it. And it's going to, of course, ripple to the Europe, and America, and North America. Just give Hashem his time. Hashem knows what he's doing. So why am I saying that? Because after you change in your mind that the reality is different, and you know why you have to change this reality? Because when Moshe Rabbeinu came to Mitzrayim the first time, and he presented his case, he was kicked in the tuchus, everybody told him, get out of here. We don't need another false prophet coming and telling us some nonsense. So he proved to them that he's the real deal. Once that he proved to them that he's the real deal, 20% of the nation made tshuva, went to Goshen, sat in yeshiva, learned Torah all day long, and did whatever they could, because there wasn't the Torah yet, but they sat and they were busy doing whatever they could to serve Hashem, and they were saved. They were saved. The land of Goshen, in Mitzrayim, nothing affected there. The missiles didn't come there. Or the frogs, or the mixed multitude of animals, or the hail. It didn't reach there. An Egyptian will come to Goshen and take a cup of water from an Israelite, the second the Egyptian would take the clear cup of water into his hand, it would turn into blood. He would give it back to the Israelite, blew up, it turned back into water. You want more greater miracles than that? That's it. The Jews, the Bnei Israel, were saved in Goshen. Whoever went to Hashem, 20%. 80% wanted to go and listen to the news. And they sympathized with the Egyptians. They need humanitarian aid because they're so miskanim. The hail broke all the crops. And the Dever killed all the animals. We have to send them a humanitarian aid, those poor Egyptians that tortured us for years. That's the 80%, by the way, that stayed in Mitzrayim. They also were screaming, free, free, Mitzrayim, free, free, Mitzrayim. These were the liberals. They were sending humanitarian aid to our enemy and saying that it's... So in Egypt, there was also 80% Smolanim going against Moshe Rabbeinu. Just read between the lines. It's not the story what you read in Pesach. Read between the lines. Read the Mefarshim. Read the Zohar. Read the Gemarot. And on that, Shlomo Melech says, "En chadash tachat hashemesh." Everything is the same. Different government, different attire, and different phones. That's it. So in Mitzrayim, the ones who went to Goshen and attached themselves to Hashem were completely safe, and then they went out to the redemption. But Moshe Rabbeinu told them, Hityatzvu, stand in front of me. It's going to be a hard year. Prepare yourself. You can't go to Mitzrayim city and shop in the malls like you used to. There's not going to be malls. There's not going to be fun anymore. You got to sit in Goshen and attach yourself to Hashem. That's the only way how you're going to be saved. And the ones who did not want to put the blood on the doorpost from the Brit Milah, then the Mashchit came to their house and destroyed 80% of the nation of Israel during the plague of darkness. That's it. And only 20% went out of Mitzrayim. The one who went blindly with God and followed the leader who was appointed by God. And they went blindly into the desert. The rest of the 80% wanted to support Palestine. Paro. That's it. And what was the result? They died in Mitzrayim. I hope that Am Yisrael will fully be redeemed and not parts of it. But the coming of Mashiach, no guarantee you'll see it with your eyes. Or me or anybody. You know what a blessing it is to see the redemption? If you go back to the Talmud, to the time of the Amoraim, Rav Ula says, Yate velo achminei. No, let him come. I don't want to see it. That's what the Amoraim were saying about the time of the Mashiach. Let it come. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. They knew how bad it's going to be, so prepare yourself. It's going to be very bad. And I'm going to teach you from the Zohar what you need to do, because I told you in the previous class what's going to be the test. Whoever is not going to doubt Hashem, Hashem is going to show us atrocities to test you if you're going to trust Hashem or not. It's going to be the hardest test. Rabbi Nachman from Breslev said, close to 300 years ago, the Nisayon before the Geulah is going to be, Breslevers, Emunah. And not if you believe in Hashem. We all believe in Hashem. The Goyim believe in them. And even those crazy animals believe in Allah. More than many of the secular Israelis. Emunah is not believing in Hashem. He said, I trust Hashem. And Rabbi Nachman, in his holy scriptures, says the test before the Geulah will be Emunah. That's it. How much emunah do you have? Emunah is faith. So, First, make the switch in your mind, that's a reality, and instead of being disappointed, be extremely happy because you might see the redemption with your own eyes. That's it. And thank Hashem that you saw up until now. I think it's a great zchut to see the redemption with your own eyes because no eye or mind can imagine what we're about to see. Go to Netflix, go to Hollywood, go to whoever you want. No one can paint to you how it's going to look, and no special effects of any producer will come close to what's going to be when Hashem decides to show His face in the world. I'm so eager, I'm so impatient. I want to see that. I don't think many will be able to hold it. Many won't be able to fathom the hara, exactly how it was in Matan Torah. Everybody died. They couldn't contain the godly revelation. It's going to be the same. It's going to be crazy. So, like I told you, set it well in your mind that this is our reality. And it's not going to change, and it will become worse. And not to chas v'shalom break your spirit, the next slap to the face will be much bigger. I don't know where and how, but it's going to be much bigger. And if you're challenging what I'm saying, go see my lecture that I gave almost 2 years ago after the pigua in Meron. It was a pigua. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't some discommunication between the guards. It was a deliberate act. God had mercy and only 45 people died. They were planning for thousands to die. But after that terror attack, I told you how this is a sign from Hashem. And what did I tell you then? Go rewind the video. The next one will be much bigger. That's what I said. That's it. So I'm saying now, the next one will be much bigger. Till we get it. And by the way, don't question what Hashem does. Hashem decides who is going to go, who's going to die. There's a reason for that. There's no mistakes. Everything is written from above. Don't question Hashem, maybe, who, what. Except that it was a precise attack from Hashem. And chas v'shalom, if we should not get our act together and we would have to experience another one, it will be worse. So now let's start to put the reality in the right perspective. Because once I understand that this is my reality, then I need to prepare accordingly. And I have prepared a very long, very, very long survival course. Then we're going to start learning. And you'll see how much things you need to prepare for the next coming years. Oh, Bezat Hashem, maybe Hashem will have mercy on us and share Mashiach much faster, and it will be less. I think it's going to be much more. Like I told you a year and a half ago, it's not my opinions. I read out of books, and I gave you the order of the 7 years before coming of Mashiach, and I told you how I see it, parallel to Agenda 2030, which means that in 2029, 2030, that's when the whole thing is going to collapse. Until then, it's going to be a build-up after a build-up after a build-up after a build-up for one thing, that Hashem wants humanity on their knees. That's it. Not the Jews. Humanity. Hashem wants everybody to bow down to Him, and then the thing will stop. The only time when you'll see things stop is when you'll see all the Jews' observance. And you'll see it. You'll see it. You know why you'll see it? Because not a lot will be left. And the ones who will be left will do anything just to stop the horrors. And that's what Hashem wants. So the faster we get our act together, the faster it will stop. You can't question with what I said. That's sourced in many places. Hashem wants the Jews to do tshuva. Not part of them. All the Jews. Including the religious ones. So once we understand that, now let's understand that I need to intensify and nourish my midat bitachon, that I will survive what's coming without Xanax, without marijuana, without, I don't know what you need to take in order to calm yourself down. And I'm not mocking anybody at all. I know a lot of people cannot deal with the situation and they're taking painkillers or tranquilizers or whatever they can. Fine. I'm not mocking anybody. You need to calm your system, calm it down, because you're going to flip out. Now that's not the solution. I'm not now promoting substance to calm you down. I'm promoting your Meditative Bitachon. It will calm you down. So let me now explain to you, first of all, the definition of Meditative Bitachon and then what to do. So the Chazon Ish explains it in the most simple way. Meditative Bitachon is what's supposed to happen will happen. That's it. מה שאמור לקרות, יקרה. מה שצריך לקרות, יקרה. You cannot change that. That's Bitachon. And why? Because everything comes from one source. If everything would come from a few sources, then I would tell you that's a cause for concern. But since everything is coming from one source, that's it. What's supposed to happen will happen. And what's the difference between one source and a few? Because if there's a few sources, then there's opinions. If you're looking now at the security cabinet in the Knesset, so you have Bibi Netanyahu, who represents the right wing of the government. You have Gantz, who represents the left wing, and you have Gallant, who, I don't know, I'm not going to say anything, and each one of them is pulling to a different direction. So there can be three results. That's when you have a few sources. But when there's one source of everything, which is Hashem, Hashem doesn't sit in a cabinet and asks what should happen. He decides, He brings it. So when there's one source, whatever's supposed to happen will happen. Because when Hashem decides something will happen, that's what's going to be. And I have experienced that hundreds of times on my own life. The biggest one, I don't know if the biggest one of the biggest ones, as I told you many times, that 22 years ago, I was in jail. I was standing trial by the federal American government. I had 47 counts on my indictment, and I was supposed to go to jail for 40 years. 127 people were arrested with me because we were a very group of people. And only 2 went out of this with nothing, me and my friend, the only ones who did tshuva. And I went out of a federal court with 47 counts on one indictment. And after a year and a half in jail, they just released me. Go, you can go. And they gave me a year probation and $1,000 fine. When Hashem decides, anything can happen. I walked out of this courtroom, no one was able to talk from the shock. The ones before me who were arrested on the same thing, 20 years in jail, 15 years in jail, 25 years in jail, and I'm the top, I was the head, and I got a year and a half and a year probation. And many other miracles. That's when Hashem decides something is going to happen. Even the great federal court system of America is this big next to Hashem. Against all odds. So I'm telling you, and like that and many other things that in a scale that you can see that it's only Hashem. And even in the Pigua, in the terror attack that was happened 3.5 weeks ago, you saw clearly how Hashem intervened and made miracles that were not normal, because this Pigua was supposed to be 10,000 or another 1,000. By the way, they had enough ammunition, weapons, food, and first aid supply. Their plan was to be all over Israel, by the way. Did you see the footages of all not the weapons, the ammunitions they came in? You didn't see that video? There's a video from the spokesman of Tzahal, and they spread on the floor all the ammunition, not the weapons, of RPGs. Hand grenade, thousands. They were planning on being here for days. Exactly like in Meron that they were planning for thousands and only 45. Here was also planned thousands. And by the way, Hezbollah was supposed to attack with them at the same time. Hezbollah chickened out at the last moment. By the way, I don't know if they chickened out, but it's kind of like, the two people who want to jump into a very cold pool. One pushes the other and he goes. That's what Hezbollah did. You go, and then they turned around and left. They told the Hamas, you go in, and we have you back. So you see, obviously, that there was much more miracles, and Hashem intervened, and as bad as it was supposed to be much worse. So you have to understand that everything that Hashem decides, that's what's going to happen, and no one can change it. And you have to understand that everything that Hashem wants is only for our own good. If you do not understand that clearly, then you really have a very huge lack of bitachon and faith in Hashem and trust. You have to understand, A, do you agree with me that Hashem is the only one who decides what happens? You all agree. Check. You agree with me that everything Hashem does is for our own good? Please nod. Check. That's it. This is called Hashgacha Pratit. A divine providence. That's Hashgacha Pratit. Everything that happens is Hashem's decision, and Hashem does only good for me. If you dare to say or to question Hashem why He did something that seems to you not good, you have a very big hole in your emunah. You're not going to survive the Geula. The Zohar says it clearly. Not that I'm trying to chas v'shalom, bring negativity to the world. I'm just trying to inspire you to get your act together. Now, how do you do it? Let's talk tachlis. How do you do it? Right? I want bitachon. I believe. I want to believe. I told you already the story. Let me tell you again, because there's always new listeners. I'll tell you the story quickly, then I'll tell you what to do, and we'll conclude. There was once an individual, and it's my story. It's not a real story. There was once an individual who decided to become observant, and he did tshuva. And started walking with a yarmulke and with tzitzit and with a beard and going to pray. In the heavens, they were very impressed. They were like, wow, look at him. So after a few weeks or after a few months, one of the angels in the board, in the committee said, listen, him, like everybody else, after a few months of doing tshuva, we got to send them some challenge to see how much, if they really trust Hashem. Okay, all in favor? Yeah, let's send him a challenge. Okay, the first angel says, let's send him a beautiful woman to seduce him. We do it to everybody. No. Let's choose another challenge. Okay, let's do this, let's do that. At the end, the whole committee decided, let's challenge him with money. Right? Everybody all in favor? Okay. The next day, somehow, that guy loses $5 from his pocket. He puts his hand in the pocket, knowing he had $5. He takes the hand out. What? I lost the $5. Now, what do you think was his reaction? It's okay. Everything that Hashem does is for the good. Right? Hashem knows what's best for me. It must be kaparat avonot, some atonement, some sin that I did. Now, at the same time in Shamayim, the committee is sitting around the table and they're all like, wow, he passed the test with flying colors. They're all raising numbers, 9, 10, 9.5. So he passed the test with flying colors. So the same angel says, listen guys, $5, that's not a test. Add a 0. All in favor? All in favor. The next day, he loses $50. Same reaction. Everything is for the good. Kol man derachman avid letav avid. Everything that Hashem does, He does for the good. Hashem wants my best. It's kaparat avonot. Thank you, Hashem. Again, in the heavens, they're all raising 9, 9.5, 10. Psh. Everybody stands up, like in the United Nations. Okay, so the same angel says, listen guys, $5, $50, that's not a test. You need to test him. Make it $50,000. All in favor? The next day, he loses $50,000. Now what do you think now is the reaction? Now the reaction is, Hashem, why are you doing this to me? Not everything that Hashem does is for the good. What did I do? I did tshuva. This is how you repay me. Now I don't know, and I'm not going to pray. That's the reaction, by the way. What happened? The Bitachon went out of the window once you added a few zeros to the number. When the challenge is $50, Hashem is great. When the challenge is way beyond what you can afford, then Hashem is not that great anymore. And then you start questioning Hashem, why did you do that to me? So it's very easy to say, I have a lot of bitachon and I trust Hashem and everything that He does is good, till you get the slap to the face that knocks you out, and then you're like, wait a minute, Hashem is not that great. Why are you doing this to me? Now, chas v'shalom, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm sure many of you, with the 50,000, not that I wish you that challenge, say, thank you Hashem, and you just find the ways to cope with it. But the majority of people, when the challenge is intensifies, or the volume is higher, the bitachon goes out of the window. So, how do you do it? How do you bring yourself to a state of bitachon? And I told you, based on the Baal HaSulam, that having bitachon is bringing light from the future. I quoted for you Yeshayahu that says, Bitchu b'Hashem adayad, past, present, future. What does it mean, past, present, future? Is that Hashem, for Him, the past, the present, and the future is the same thing. Which means that right now, in our present, Hashem is already experiencing the future. So I want to bring the light from the future. How do I do that? Then first of all, I need to prepare vessels. I told you, if you don't have the vessels, you won't be able to hold the light from the future. So you need vessels. How do you build these vessels to be able to pull godly light from the future into your vessels to eventually bring you to a place of having full bitachon in the Kadosh Baruch Hu? Since we want to put light in a vessel, which is a Kabbalistic term, placing lights in vessels, orot bekelim, then I need the kelim. I need kelim in order to have, the light is there. I need the kli. How do I build a spiritual vessel to hold the light? A light that is coming from a place that there's no time. In this world, I'm bound to time. But in the world above, the light is not bound to time. So I need to bring light from a place of no time. What is the place of no time? Past, present, and future. When it's all one, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Haya, Hove, Yihiyeh, past, present, future, can only be found by God. When I need to bring light from a place with no time, I have to turn to God. Now I know that you're probably already imagining me telling you that you're going to have to recite some prayer. No. If you attach yourself to Hashem, but really, now, the word in Hebrew that it's talking about in the sources, in the text, is hitkashrut. Okay? The ones who speak with a Ashkenazi accent, it's called hitkashrus. Right? No, I have to be clear because some people don't understand what I'm saying. Hitkashrut. Now, hitkashrut is communication. But you can't teach Torah in English because hitkashrut comes from the word kesher. The root of the word hitkashrut is kesher. Kuf, shin, resh. That's a knot. So my communication, that if I'm talking about hitkashrut with Hashem, it's not communication. It's I tie myself to Hashem. אני מקשר את עצמי. I connect myself to Hashem. How? Is not using the same letters of kesher. When you have sheker, you cannot be connected to Hashem and you will never be connected to Hashem. If you lie, or you live in a reality of a lie, I'm sorry to tell you, your kesher, your connection with Hashem will be very weak, if at all. Because if you want to hear my My opinion, and it's not that I'm inventing anything. You'll find it in tons of books. But I'm telling you my opinion. If there's one thing that Hashem hates, I know a lot of people will tell zina, promiscuity, and tzniut. And my opinion is the thing that Hashem hates the most is a lie. Because Hashem emet. V'torato emet. And what is the seal of the Torah? The stamp? Emet. When Korach was swollen into the ground with all the 250 men, including their families, the sons of Noach made tshuva. A krach, a little cliff, came out of the pit that they fell into, and they were saved. And what did they scream, Bnei Noach? Hashem emet, Torato emet, veMoshe emet. So if Hashem signs with the seal of emet, then wouldn't you think that the thing that he hates the most is the opposite? Where the world above is called Olam HaEmet, the world of truth, because there's no reality even of a lie in the world above. Liars that come to the world above don't make it. They can't live in that world because they don't know how can be a reality without deception. Can you imagine in your mind a world with no lie? There's no deception in the world above. There's no concept that you can hide behind a lie. So what does Hashem hate the worst? Liars. Why? Because it's a false testimony to what he does. So you're giving a false testimony to what Hashem did. That's a lie. And by the way, exaggerating is a lie. Go look it up. Go look the halacha term of a lie. I'm telling you already, exaggerating is a lie. And lying is a sin. So how do I connect myself to Hashem? It's telling I need hitkashrut. First of all, can't be any lie. Can't be a reality of sheker. Because if I have a reality of sheker, then I'm not connected, right, to Hashem. Now, if I want to connect myself, Hashem, be'emet, really, first of all, most important, remove any concept of lie. And I told you that when I became observant, I did not go to yeshiva. I did not put a yarmulke on my head or grow a beard. For 3 years, my tshuva had nothing to do with what an average person does tshuva. The first year for me was just to stop lying, to stop cursing, and to stop cheating in business. That was my goal in the first 3 years, in my first year of tshuva. I used to put tefillin in the morning. And I used to not eat meat and dairy. And a few minor things. But for me the challenge is let's see you not lying. Because I was a liar. In business, in relationships, everything, not one word of emet came out of my mouth. So for me, let's see you not saying any lies. And I told you that many times. I bought myself a little notebook, cost me $1, and a pen that cost me $1.25. And every time that I lied, I opened that little notebook and wrote the hour and the lie. And at the end of the day, I would open the notebook and find 10 lies, 30 lies, 50 lies. And when I read the lie, I understood how ridiculous that lie is. Something along the line, somebody calls you late for an appointment. I'm there in 5 minutes. You liar. The GPS tells you 34 minutes. Why are you saying you're there in 5 minutes? What do you think the person going to fall into a coma for 30 minutes and he's not going to notice that it took me 30 minutes? Just tell the person, I'm really sorry. I woke up late. I'm running into traffic. The GPS is showing 34 minutes. I'm sorry. Just be honest. That's how low it goes. So if you're able to connect yourself Hashem, be'emet. Now, be'emet can be translated as really, really connect yourself to Hashem. But I like reading it, you have to connect yourself to Hashem with truth. Karov Hashem lechol korav lechol asher yikreu be'emet. You read that 3 times a day. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha. Hashem is close to all the ones who call Him. But if you translate it in free translation in Hebrew, that really call Him. No. That call Hashem with truth. Once you did that, you're able to pull down the light. What do you need to do? Once a day, a little exercise. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You decide. This exercise is called Memale Kol Almin, the ones who fill all the worlds. What you need to do is you need to sit for 15 minutes. Turn off the phone, turn any distractions, WhatsApps, whatever it is, all your distractions. You want to do it in the same idea of like a hitbodedut. The hitbodedut, the meaning of the word hitbodedut is to isolate. What's hitbodedut? Bidud nefesh, that I isolate my nefesh from distractions, then I can start talking to God and talking to my nefesh and have my soul start talking back. If I have distractions, it's not going to work. So remove all distractions from your room, from wherever you are. And for 10-15 minutes, you have to meditate. And you have to meditate how Hashem governs the world. How Hashem memale kol almin. What do you mean memale kol almin? Fills the entire world. That nothing moves in the world without Hashem's approval. So look at the trees, look at the leaves, how they're moving, and you're saying Hashem is moving that. Look at the fish over there, unbelievable. Millions of fish, they all look similar but different at the same time. And look how they're swimming. You have to look how Hashem memale kol almin. This Hasidic explanation, the approach of memale kol almin versus sovev kol almin. Sovev means to surround, which means that the light is there, but very general. Memale kol almin, that it's filling the details. To explain it in a different visual, I can stand in front of 1,000 people and talk. The way that I talk is sovev kol almin. It's general to everybody. And some take it like this, some take it like that. But it's everybody got the same message. Memale kol almin, that I'll sit with each and every one and give you the exact same class, but to your level. One will be in English, one will be in Hebrew. One will be running, one will be explaining, right? That's the difference of Memale Kol Almin. Memale Kol Almin, which means that the energy of Hashem, the life force of Hashem, is in the precise quota to each individual. Whether it's inanimate, an animal, vegetation, humans. So you need to look at everything and to see how Hashem Memale Kol Almin. And nothing moves without the power of Hashem. And it doesn't matter. And you have to look how everything works. Hashem makes everything works. Hashem makes everything alive. You're looking at fruit, looking at vegetables, looking at everything. And once you meditate for 10 minutes, you have to think about it. I'll give you one example. I look out the window now and I see the trees and I see what beautiful colors. Every leaf is a little bit different. And now wind hits the leaves and the leaves go in this beautiful way. Right? I'll give you just a quick example. You look out, you look at the clouds. What a beautiful, how Hashem paints the clouds. Did you see the sunset yesterday? Unbelievable. I sat in front of the sunset for half an hour, did Memale Kol Almin. Because every second, the painting changes. And every second, it's a different type of shade. And every second, it's a different shape. So I did this exercise yesterday, just looking at the sunset, focusing on the sunset and saying, how unbelievable of an artist is Hashem. Look how the colors are changing. Is there anyone in the world that can do that? No. Is there any artist that can do that? No. Can you do that in any type of a way? Only God can do that. And then I would look at anything. You get the exercise? Thank you. You don't move till you understand how... I'm looking now at this aquarium and I'm looking at the bubbles. You're looking at the bubbles? That's fascinating to me. That water that is spilling into water, you have bubbles of air. You know what's in the bubble? Air. So why is it a bowl? Why is it not square? Why is it not oval? Why is it not flat? Can you make a bubble? Can anybody make a bubble? No, only God can make bubbles. That's Memale Kol Almin. God in His great divine power is making thousands of bubbles in front of my eyes, and not one person in the world can make a bubble. That's divine. That's Memale Kol Almin. And I can give you 50 million examples. You got the point. You need to be totally focused on Memale Kol Almin till you understand that everything is the will of Hashem. Hashem right now wants that little fish to eat there, and that bubble to happen there, and the wind to move the leaves over there. Oh, look, a bird is flying. That's Memale Kol Almin. Look how she flies in such beautiful movements. Once you are able to connect yourself to the past, the present, and the future, which is Hashem, all your soul will be fulfilled with the lights of the future. And then you are calm and happy, no worries. And if you did it in 5 minutes, do it in 5 minutes. You do it 10 minutes, I do it 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be so long. You have to connect yourself to the past, which you can't question the past. This is facts. You connect yourself to the future, you can't question the present, you can't question the present, it's in front of your face. And eventually you'll connect yourself to the future because you're connecting yourself to Hashem. If you connect yourself to Hashem the right way, then the Bitachon exercise will work. So what is the real essence of Bitachon? Is to remember the Master of the universe in the worst situations. And to understand that in the worst situations, that's the will of Hashem. That's why I kept repeating myself in the previous lecture that don't blame the government, don't blame other governments, don't blame the Hamas, and don't blame anybody else but God, if you want to blame. But we don't blame God because Hashem did it. That was Hashem's will. I don't know how many times I have to repeat what I said. People still don't understand when I say something as simple as I'm going to repeat it now for the 267th time. Everything that happens in this world, God did. So if you're reading about a baby that was beheaded, the Hamas was the messenger, and God allowed it to happen and approved it and made the messenger do it. And if you think differently, that is heresy. That's it. There's not much to explain here. I don't know. I don't understand how people don't get it. Because if you say anything otherwise, you're saying that the Hamas has more power than Hashem. If you're saying that the terrorist that did the atrocity did it on his own will, then it means that he's stronger than Hashem. Now, if you come and say, but they have free will, you're right. Paro also had free will. Ve'akshet levavo. And I harden his heart. How many times it says in the Torah about Paro, I harden his heart? Go and read. Don't ask me for give you all the answers. Do your own homework. Think I'm going to serve you all the answers on a silver platter? You go and read it. In Parashat Bo. Stop coming to me for answers. You go in there. People sending me questions. Excuse me. I have a life. You go do your research. I need to do a research for you and to give you a lecture now? I'm done with these days. I'm going to give you the title. You do the research. So I asked you a question. How many times did Hashem say about Paro that I will harden his heart? That's your homework. Go read. So Paro also had free will. And many others. If it's Titus, Aspianus, and many others who had free will and still went and destroyed Bet HaMikdash. Besides, who shot the arrows, understood the Bet HaMikdash was supposed to be destroyed, and says, I'm not interfering with the God of Israel. You know the story? He went, there's a whole Gemara about it. He met a kid on the way back from yeshiva, and he told him, Psok li psukha, and tell me the verse that you learned today. And the kid told him a verse about the destruction of the temple. Then he took a bow and arrow, and he shot it to the east. It made a U-turn and went to Yerushalayim. He shot the arrow to the north. It made a U-turn and went to Yerushalayim. He shot the arrow to all directions, and he understood that Bet HaMikdash has to be destroyed and Yerushalayim has to be destroyed. And he says, I don't want to be the one who does it. And he went and did tshuva and eventually converted, and it was moved over to Titus. So also the wicked have bchira chofshit, and they can choose. The Hamas, of course, chose to do it. They gladly did it. But the one who allowed it to happen is the one and only Hashem. And if you do not believe in that, you have a very big problem with heresy, and check yourself. Because Hashem is the architect of every encounter that we have, including the Holocaust and many others. But when the nation of Israel is being slaughtered and murdered in such a way, don't think Hashem is not upset with us. He's with us and mourning the murder and the death. But listen, if it's needed, because I keep getting the same comments, I will explain it over and over. I'll learn other languages to teach it to you in other languages if I have to. God runs the world. No one, no entity in the world has an upper hand on God, which means the last word is God. End of story. All the bad, of course, all the good, but let's concentrate for a second on the bad. The worst, Hashem allowed it to happen. Because even if a person has free will and wants to do the murder, if Hashem wants it not to happen, then it's not going to happen. And you know, I don't have to even show you proof. One video that I saw right from the beginning, you see two ladies recognizing the terrorists next to the kibbutz. They run with they drive with the car to the kibbutz. The gate doesn't open. They leave the car. They run through the door. Then they see that the terrorists are running into the kibbutz. They're hiding in the booth. Then soldiers see the terrorists and start shooting them. So the terrorists run into the kibbutz and hide. And in the meantime, the two ladies stuck in the crossfire. And you see the ladies just standing like that. And there's crossfire between the terrorists and the soldiers. You know which video I'm talking about? It's advertised everywhere. And you see the terrorist standing this distance from the woman. She's like this, and he's shooting to a different direction. And he's trying to shoot at the soldiers that are trying to hit him. And the woman she's like under so much pressure. The other woman is hiding behind the car, distance like this from the terrorist. And the other woman is standing like that. And he's not even shooting. You see that he's all confused. And if you don't see the hand of Hashem in this video, I'll find this video and we'll put it on the editing on this one so the viewers can see. This video shows you Yad Hashem Hoya, the hand of Hashem. The terrorist was this distance from her, and he's shooting, but not her. You can't tell me this is the hand of Hashem. Hashem decides who's going to go, how, where, what, and when. And that's it. And don't argue about that. So the essence of Bitachon is to understand and to remember the Creator in the worst situations. He does it. When a person has some type of a challenge, and we'll say now an observant person, usually what happens is the fear takes over. That's usually what happens. How much fear? Depends how much bitachon you have. You have a little bit of bitachon, there's going to be a lot of fear. You have a lot of bitachon, there'll be a little bit of fear. But when a person goes through a challenge, first of all comes fear. What am I going to do? What am I going to say? How am I going to react for that? And you use your own imagination with your own personal challenges. But the first thing that will take over is fear. And the amount of fear is how much bitachon you have. The thing is that I have to understand, and this is where I can build the trust. There's a verse in the book of Devarim, chapter 23, verse 15. The verse says, Hashem mitalech bekerev machanecha, lehatzilcha velatet oivecha lefanecha. For the Lord your God goes along in the midst of your camp, which means Hashem is constantly with us, even in the bad situations, to rescue you and to deliver your enemies before you. So Hashem is giving us now a promise what He's going to do. Hashem is amongst us. If I don't trust Hashem, I don't believe in everything, then I push Hashem out. But if I trust Hashem, then the Torah gives me a promise. Hashem is in your midst, in your camp. Why? To deliver your enemies before you. You know what that is saying? Hashem is going to fight the war, not the IDF. God bless those brave soldiers. and may they have a great victory over our enemies. But God runs the war. And at some point, Hashem, to make his point, is going to put the army aside, and he's going to fight. And that's when we're going to have jaws drop down. And you know when that might happen? If chas v'shalom, God forbid, we're going to be attacked simultaneously by Iran and Yemen and Syria and Hezbollah and Jordan and Egypt and Iraq and Hamas and all these places, chas v'shalom, decide to make a mistake and to attack us, Hashem is going to say, okay, I had enough, put the IDF away, and Hashem will come out and start fighting, and then the whole world will see the power of Hashem. And that might happen.
What about the earthquake?
Earthquake? Hashem can fight in so many ways. I think can make an earthquake and entire countries under the ground. He can make a tsunami. He can send one angel. That's what he needs. He can send one angel, or he can do a mofet like with Avraham Avinu. One person grabs a pile of sand like Avraham Avinu and throws it, and millions of swords fly at them and kill them. My wife had a dream. I don't remember exactly when. It's irrelevant, but she was dreaming how at the time there was a time of like now, great danger. And I don't remember. Ask her the dream. I don't remember the dream, but the dream was that she saw that she was reading Tehillim, and the letters were flying out of her mouth towards the enemy, and as they were coming close to the enemy, they started turning around and becoming like these, I don't know, like a spinning saw and cutting everything. So we'll be seeing things. Ask her the dream. I don't remember every detail. But let me just conclude the verse, because Hashem is telling us to deliver your enemies before you. But there's a condition. והיה מחנך קדוש, ולא יראה בה ערוות דבר. Your camp shall be holy, so you should not see anything unseemly. Seemly. Now, unseemly is not ervat davar. Erva is something of filth. Erva is something that is immodest and impure. So Hashem is telling us, this you can check, Book of Devarim, chapter 23, verse 15. Your camp has to be kadosh. You have to have a holy camp around you. And no, you can't have anything that is called ervat davar. Follow everything that I just told you now, I'm guaranteed to you that your level of bitachon will go up a lot. All you need to do is, first of all, review what I just told you now. I wanted it to be a short lecture, but it ended up being a long lecture. Review it a few more times to understand that Hashem is the one who's running the world. And I know you're going to tell me, but I know Hashem runs the world. So if you know that, and you're still feeling anxiety or fear, meaning you don't have bitachon, that you are aware that God runs the world, but you don't really believe in that. The gauge I told you of how much bitachon you have is how much fear you get at the time of the nisayon. That's the indication. The indication is how much fear. A lot of fear means little bitachon. Little fear, you have a lot of bitachon. That's your gauge. Ask yourself, am I afraid? The alarm goes off. Are you afraid? Yes? No? Check. I look at the news and I hear the threat. Am I afraid? You do it yourself. You have to make an analysis. What makes you afraid? Are you afraid? Are you afraid right now? Are you afraid of anything? I hope not. But if you are afraid, or you call it uncertainty, which is fear, which is lack of bitachon. You understand where it all turns? So you just need to focus yourself to understand that the Kadosh Baruch Hu memale kol almin. That's it. How do you get to that point? Then meditate once a day or twice a day on the memale kol almin. That's it. I told you how the process is very simple. Focus on what Hashem does, how He intervenes in the world and fulfills the world with His energy. Do that every day, 5, 10, 15 minutes. You'll see the level of anxiety is going down. Because, when a person worries, means that he has no trust in Hashem. Because the word in Hebrew, worry, how do you write it? De'aga. Right? So if you go from the alphabet, it has a aleph, and it skips a letter, and it has a gimel, dalid, hey. Right? If you go by the order of the alphabet. So which letter are you missing? You're missing the bet. The bet is the bitachon. If you worry, in Hebrew it's de'aga, then you're missing. You don't have bitachon. You have bitachon, you don't worry about anything. I don't worry where I'm going to have money from. I don't worry if I'm going to have dinner tonight or tomorrow, or I have money to pay the rent, not to pay the rent. Where am I going to live? Who am I going to marry? What's going to be with my kids? What's going to be with my health? You don't worry. You make a hishtadlut. We'll talk about it in other classes. You have to make an effort. B'derech hateva, and that's it. And the rest is in the hands of Hashem, and be busy with what you need to do. Instead of being busy all day long on TikTok and Shmikmok and putting comments and answering all sorts of comments and being upset and the arguments and the disagreements on the comments. It's all the comments. Don't go on the comments. Trust me, it sucks me in too. I also go sometimes to check the comments on my videos. And it sucks me in because I start answering. But there's nobody to talk to because you don't know who's on the other side. And you really think there's going to be some type of a conclusion from a comment debate? It's just Lashon Hara. So don't go into the comments. So to conclude, like I told you, we are in the most exciting times in history. And we were chosen to hopefully see it. Some of us. And to be part of it. Now, I want to see it. Let's put the truth on the table. I want to see it. But I'm more obligated. I feel more obligated that if I'm alive now, and this is the times we're living in, to be active in what's in the shift. Because Hashem is going to come and point fingers at people. Why didn't you do anything? You were on Facebook every day for 3 hours posting nonsense. Why didn't you post Divrei Torah? Why didn't you post Divrei of Emet? Why didn't you do anything? How many people did you try to help? How many people did you approach? Well, I don't have the vessels all the time. One person. What did you do to interfere in the Geulah? Now, if you will say nothing, then you're going to have a problem. And it doesn't mean you have to run in the streets and turn the world around. But you can say, I really tried not to talk Lashon Hara, so I removed myself from all the groups, and I really tried to pray, even though it was hard for me, and I really tried to learn a little bit. Okay, thank you, you did something. If you're going to get now a question from the creator of the world, asking you, what have you done to sweeten the judgments and to hasten the redemption? Do you have an answer? If you have an answer, thank you. If you don't have an answer, then start working on an answer. And you better have a good answer. Something along the line that I tried my best. I read a lot of Tehillim. I don't know how to do outreach. I don't know how to argue. So I read 50 Tehillim every day. Oh, I did this and that. Oh, I worked on myself. I refined myself. I didn't answer back when people annoyed me. I didn't get into a conversation knowing there's going to be Lashon Hara there. That was my contribution. Hashem is going to give you a big hug. And you can't lie to Him. Hashem, she sees everything. And if in your capabilities to do more, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. Because Hashem is going to look at you according to your capability. I told you before, we are in a very, very intense and amazing time. The hand of Hashem is much more revealed in Hashem, in the world. We are going to a more intense time, and I know it's easy to say don't worry, but there's nothing to worry about because everything was already planned, everything is written. You can change things a little bit, but everything is already written. It's going to happen. Hashem's divine plan. You can't stop it. And don't forget that the war here is the war of Hashem. It's not our war. We don't have to have a war with Hamas. Hamas has a war with Hashem. Hezbollah has a war with Hashem. America has a war with Hashem. Iran, Russia, everyone, including us. We have an issue with Hashem. We need to get on the good side of Hashem. Fast. And we'll be fine. So even in the worst times, you can still find light. Where do we learn that from? Et tzara leYaakov, umimena yivashea. When it's time for despair and problems for Yaakov, from that time you'll be redeemed. From that you'll find the salvation. So I ask, request, and pray that you'll be successful. Take 10 minutes a day. Follow the instructions. For the ones who are watching on the video, I'll write it clearly that you can do it. We'll cut it short so you can have a short video to memorize. It's very simple. It's just meditating on not only the greatness of Hashem, is how Hashem enlivens everything. And by that you come to the conclusion that if Hashem is enlivening billions of fish, and billions of trees, and billions of birds, and billions of ants, and billions of deers, it's trillions. If He governs so many little details, then what more do you need to understand that He's running the world? And if Hashem is controlling billions of fish to which direction they're going to go, so Hashem also controls our enemy to where they're going to shoot and who they're going to aim to. That's it. I know it sounds not nice. I know it sounds harsh. That's the reality. You want me to paint you a different reality? So you live in denial? That's the reality. Face it. Deal with it. And how? I just gave you an hour and a half class how to deal with the reality. And once you are connected to Hashem in such of a level, you're receiving light from the future. We're living in a very intense but yet very exciting time. We have to adjust. We have to prepare. And the only thing that will save us and take us into a place of sanity and security is God. And you need to tap into that system that once you are 100% connected to Hashem in the right way, then Hashem will protect you. You and everybody else. And this applies to both Jews and non-Jews, because also the non-Jews are part of the redemption, and they're also going to be chas v'shalom, they're going to get hit too. And like I told you, if you take the entire terror attack 3.5 weeks ago and you put it in writing as Hashem's letter, all the information you need to know is in that attack. What Hashem is about to do, what He's going to do, who's involved, who's not involved. And Hashem made it very clearly that we see, and the entire world sees, that there were many Gentiles who were murdered in the kibbutzim because there were workers there from the Philippines, from Thailand. Many of them were murdered and some were abducted, for Hashem to tell the nations, you also included. It's not only the Jews. So everything that Hashem did in this attack is messages from Hashem to the world. That was the first thing that I questioned. Why did the poor Thai guys, the Thailandim, the workers, why did I have to murder them? What, the Arab doesn't see they look Chinese or Thai? And the message is clear. Hashem is telling the nations, when the wrath comes, it doesn't differentiate between a Jew or a non-Jew. It will come. So if there'll be a violent demonstration, like there was now in Chicago, I don't know if you saw it, if you want, I'll send you the footage. Did you see how violent it was in Chicago? Extremely violent, of pro-Palestinians and mostly African Americans. An extremely violent demonstration. Now, if chas v'shalom, some would get hurt there, who says that in all these violent demonstrations, other people, good-hearted Gentiles, won't get hurt? So the Gentiles need to do the exact same thing. The message is global. The message is for everybody. Hashem is God for everybody, not just for the Jews. So we need them on both directions, the Gentiles. So Gentiles needs to do the same thing here. But only the ones, I've been quoting it over and over, V'atem, you, the one, who? Atem hadvekim me'Hashem Elokechem chaim kulchem hayom. Only you, the ones who cleave unto Hashem, will be saved in the day that is called Hayom, the day of the redemption. That's it. Nothing to be afraid of. Everything is predestined. Everything is decided. So now, of course, one might say, so if everything is predestined, why do I need to read Tehillim? Why do I need to learn Torah? Why do I need to pray? Well, first of all, because that's an obligation from the Torah. You have to. Nobody's asking you. Whether the time is good or not, you're still obligated. Second of all, you can sweeten the judgments. You can reduce the intensity. If you're going from point A to point B and the GPS shows you your route, you can still make stops on the way for bathroom stops and food. You're in the same route, same destination, that just took you longer because you took stops. We're on the same route. We're going to get to the destination. Nothing can change, but you can change the route, how intense it's going to be, how sweet the judgments can be, and so forth. B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should bless us to be aware of the situation, see the danger, but yet the blessing, operate accordingly, and fill our neshama with bitachon, with trust, with emunah. And you have to do it, because if not, you'll lose your mind. Person that doesn't have bitachon will eventually lose their mind and not going to be able to cope with what they're about to see. And that's really the challenge, is emunah. How much faith and bitachon you have in Hashem. So I really wanted it to be a short class, so nevertheless it became long. That's your first exercise in strengthening your bitachon. If you have any questions or comments, the comments that need to be put on this video is comments that are positive, not lashon hara. People still say lashon hara in comments. I don't understand that. Anyways, the comments are deleted. But comments should be feedback of your experience. If you have any positive experience from the exercise that I told you, write a comment. I did it, it works well. It works well. I do it on myself. It's fine. It works. Trust me, it works. If it doesn't work, change your batteries. Hashem make you successful, calm you down, and fill you with good faith and good trust in Hashem.